Oh, welcome back, you son of a bitch. Wait a minute. Where's my beer? Hey, where's my beer? There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Today we're going to be talking about TV shows and why I think they're not as good as the movie counterpart format.
What the hell did you just say?
You have your TV shows, you have your movie format. What's the difference, you say? Well, TV shows, they have a lot longer run times. Well, typically, unless you're talking about the old Fox network and they just canceled stuff before the season was even over. Let's not take a history lesson here today. We're talking about contemporary reasons why TV shows don't hold up quite well to movies. Yeah, you might be saying, well, TV shows have a longer runtime and they're able to draw you in with more character development. I can agree with that in something like Game of Thrones, where they have fantastic examples of that character development and great dialogue. And then on the other hand, you have shows like Rings of Power tends to just have a TV show as a platform to make money as compared to actually tell a story.
I alone can see your greatness.
So that's really where my quarrels come in with all of this, is the fact when a studio is like, whoa, hold the phones, all right? We're going to make this movie a TV show because we can milk some of that money, if you know what I mean. Oh, give me some of that money. I think most studios are like this, in fact. They think, oh, let's just squeeze out longer run times, lower production budget, and we'll make it look really fancy. Movies are definitely shorter, and they don't always hold up in quality because they don't have a lot of time to explore what's going on. DC movies suffer from this the most because there's so much that they got to explain, they just can't really cram it in 2 to 3 hours. I may argue that a DC film works out better as a lower budget platform for TV shows that can go on as long as they keep pumping in information. I'm not talking about these teen boppers, like these shows where they're running around with horrible dialogue, no real plot lines, and it's just like watching the CW.
Who are you?
I'm Robin.
Anybody who remembers the CW knows that it was so cheap you wouldn't watch it before or after a Wednesday night. And even then it was just, oh, I got 30 minutes to spare, so why not? It's either this or kill myself. While you may have a universe like DC that has a tremendous amount of content to be able to explain infinite episodes for anything. You got Batman, you got Superman, you got The Flash, you got Wonder Woman, and they could go on and on. And actually, the more I think about it, the less that they seem better in the movie world. However, in other TV shows like The Rings of Power, which season 2 is coming out, and I don't know about you, but I'm excited to be talking about it. So, and you have a world that may be better explained in just a few hours and condensing and consolidating and kind of getting through it a little bit quicker paced. And I think the majority of the TV shows out there should be movies. And it's actually the exception that should instead just remain a TV show or be a TV show. So you have to think about the streaming model for Netflix and Disney and, well, I would say Hulu, but Hulu doesn't make any new content. Amazon Prime, HBO. HBO tends to have the higher quality content most of the time. There's some stuff that doesn't always work out well. They really depend on the sexual content for their shows to be good. It's like, hey, we've gone like 3 episodes without somebody having absolute grotesque sex on top of a table where somebody walks in and interrupts them. That's when you know you're watching HBO. And then like Netflix, they're moving more towards Asian dramas, and a lot of that is Korean drama. Once you start getting into it, there is a lot of filler content. Character development that's not great. It really slows down what's going on. This one show called Alice in Borderland, I've been watching it recently. I don't know if you've seen it. It has somewhat of an interesting situation going on. They teleport to this other world and you have to play these games similar to Squid Games, and if you die, instead of getting shot with a mechanical weapon, you somehow magically get lasered and you just fall over dead if you don't die in the show itself. And they really try to hook you with surprise deaths or sudden deaths. And then in between each one, they slow the pace down tremendously for one reason or another. I managed to get through the first season. It was okay. I was watching it with my wife, so I really wanted to spend some time with her and enjoy at least that aspect. So that's mostly why I was watching it. But then by the time season 2 came around, it became even slower. Some of the characters in here were only existing to reiterate the plot. You would have person A say something, and then you would have person B just repeat that in their own words, and every time something would happen, that's all they did. And it's just, these shenanigans are not good, and they really disrupt from what's going on, because that's not how people respond. They're trying to explain it to the audience. They're not trying to act like it actually is happening in real life, and that's where I have an issue with it. And then you have shows on Amazon Prime, the leading contenders being The Boys, which I actually think is pretty outstanding.
And I trust we never have to have this conversation again.
Do they have some kind of slowdowns here and there? Yeah, absolutely. But they can also pull things off a little bit better than HBO without having to throw in constant sex. Don't get me wrong. I love sex just as much as the next person. That doesn't mean I feel like it adds value to the show that I'm watching. It just doesn't. I mean, if I'm gonna look at boobs or penises, I'm gonna go and watch it on Pornhub. I don't need to spend time watching it in Game of Thrones. Boardwalk Empire, I don't know if you guys have watched Boardwalk Empire. Pretty good. It suffers from a tremendous amount of sex scenes that I don't think contribute to the quality.
So what is sexual harassment?
But overall, I think they're just trying to make a point. This is the kind of world that they lived in. Give or take. A show like that, it still has a lot of episodes. You got to spend a lot of time. Even if there is something really interesting out there and you're a busy person, you're just not going to be able to carve up the time to genuinely sit down and watch these TV series, especially if a few seasons have already passed by. I remember when Game of Thrones was airing and you get to season 3 and season 4 when the Red Wedding happened. There's a lot of people who were drawn to Game of Thrones because of the Red Wedding. Only a few percentage of those people that were interested in Game of Thrones because of the Red Wedding actually wanted to go back and binge watch up until that point and then, be on the same cliffhanger until the next following season.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And then, of course, we were all disappointed with the last season, which just, oh man. Why couldn't Daenerys just take the dragon and go burn the Red Castle? Why did she have to sit there and burn the city down? None of that makes any sense. The writers for the show, they butchered it because they were in a rush to move on to the next one, which is another point I want to make with TV shows. They sacrifice quality when they decide that either the writers are done or the network decides they're done. They just abruptly cut it off. Some really good TV shows that knew when to end was something like Breaking Bad. They may have gone an extra season too long, but they still did a lot better than other TV shows who decide, we could keep milking this for 2, 3, 4 seasons before we need to finish up the plot line.
You're goddamn right.
And that's the worst, really, when the show leads you on a string for season after season after season and not progressing the plot. They just keep adding stuff like violence and sex. They hope that the script writing will keep you leading to the next thing, but you're really just going in circles. Your displacement is zero. Because of that reason, I think a lot of these TV shows should in fact be movies, and Rings of Power is a good example. It should really just be a 2-3 hour movie. Then we could cut out a lot of the BS that people are aggravated about, like Guy Ladriel, who isn't really supposed to be the main hero in this character, but yet at every turn and corner is the one. They deliver it so intensely that it's just a buzzkill.
There is a tempest in me.
I will watch a TV show with friends if it's bad just for the time to spend with them, then I necessarily want to do it by myself. There's very, very few movies or TV shows that I will sit down alone and watch. Rings of Power certainly would never be one. I would not touch that show with a 10-foot pole if I didn't have friends to watch it with, like Mystery Science Theater 3000 it. Sit there and just commentary on it the whole time.
A rare Godzilla-free day.
And that's coming from somebody who genuinely enjoys Lord of the Rings. I had a surgery done a few years ago, and I was bedridden, so all I did was watch the extended version of Lord of the Rings again, because it had been several years, and it was great. I was looking for all the little details and the things that are missing, and you really want, when there's less, you want that more. When they leave you with imagination, you want to be able to chase that. And you want to be able to say, hey, well, that's interesting. I want to know more about it. But as soon as they just have somebody stand there in front of the camera and say, I did this because this is supposed to happen according to the legendary tales 3,000 years ago that was foretold, and here we are today.
You were the chosen one.
Oh God, prophecies are another horrible plot point. I'm so tired of prophecies, because a movie or a show will say, oh, the prophecy said this was going to happen and that's why we're here. And then all of a sudden, but what about 1,000 years after that point of a prophecy? Who makes more prophecies? It's just, can we get a TV show about somebody that creates the prophecy for something to happen? We're 1,000 years in the future learning about a prophecy that just happens to make things go along. Ugh. I think there's a lot of limitations for TV shows that movies can help make up because they are so time constrained. And also, movies tend to have a higher budget value. And then you have shows like Disney. These are just going on and on and on. And Disney is trying to milk the TV show cow. All right. They have their own problems with movies where they want to capture everything from a cartoon to real. Because again, money has trumped quality or imagination in Disney. And so in these TV shows like Ahsoka, I forget. I'm not as big in the expanded Star Wars lore, and a lot of that is due to what they did to the past 3 movies. It's just,
I'm so angry.
Give me a shorter version of She-Hulk in 2 hours with a higher budget and an actual plot line that they have to go through with a short time limit. Because when you give them a whole season, they can just make crap up and they can do whatever they want. And they don't have to achieve the end until the last episode. A lot of these TV shows, it's like, oh, okay, well, the first few episodes were great. The next several episodes were horrible. And then now I'm not sure if I even want to finish it, but let me just skip through the end, read the description. Oh, okay. Description 1, description 2, description 3. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, there it is. There's the end. And I've now recapped all of it.
Reagan smash! Reagan smash!
Anyways, I've ranted on long enough. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm onto something or if you think, oh, you're full of crap, Chris Yeti. Okay, TV shows are superior to movies and here's why. Let me know in the comments.
Good day, sir.
But if you stuck around this long, don't forget to like and subscribe because that's what everybody in the world says on the YouTube videos, so that's what I gotta say, right? Until next time, cheers and good night.